Ministers, everybody in the country knows at this stage today is Arthur's Day, the now annual event when Diageo encourages people to go to the pub and raise a toast to Arthur. The company has spent an awful lot of money on advertising, promotions and live music with the objective of getting as many people as possible to drink Guinness tonight. I want to say at the outset that I know that the vast majority of people who go out tonight will have a fun and safe night out. They'll have a couple of pints, listen to live music and go home at the end of the evening without any trouble. But unfortunately, if tonight is anything like the last few years, we'll also see an increase of up to 30% in ambulance call-outs. The Gardaí will have to deal with a rise in public order offences as people who raised a toast to Arthur at the designated hour of 17:59 fall onto the streets many hours later in Dublin and other cities around the country. Earlier this week, I called on Diageo to cover the extra policing costs of Arthur's Day because I pointed out that with concerts and with sporting events there's already a precedent there. It would have been the case at the weekend with the All-Ireland final that the GAA have to cover the cost of the extra Gardaí inside Croke Park because they're there in addition, they're not on normal public duties. It's the same with concerts. If MCD or other promoters are putting on a concert they have to cover the extra costs. So I suppose I put it up to Diageo to do the same because this is, you know, it's all very well to say that people have, and I've heard the Diageo spokesperson speak on different programmes during the week and say, you know, is it really any different to Paddy's Day or any other day when people go out and enjoy a few pints? But I think it's one thing for people to celebrate a normal national holiday, an official national holiday, or a sporting event or other occasion like that. But it's another for a commercial company to concoct a national drinking day or an alcohol day, as Christy Moore has called it. And there's no doubt that the reason that Guinness have put the event together, and they've admitted this in programmes during the week, is to get people out on a night when they wouldn't ordinarily drink, and it is to boost consumption of alcohol. So it is a commercial event. And I think it's wrong that a company would take the profits from that commercial event but not actually cover the public cost of it, because the extra Gardaí that have to be rostered on tonight, the fact that they're working this evening, will mean that they're not available to work another night during the year. Extra pressure that's put on our health services tonight will have the same effect, because we all know we're working in an environment of reduced budgets. So that's why I issued that call to Diageo earlier on in the week. I woke up this morning to read the Irish Examiner, which carried a story on its front page saying that Diageo have now agreed to contribute to some of the policing costs of the event. I'm hoping, Minister, I know you're here to represent Minister Shatter, you're not the Minister directly responsible yourself, but I'm hoping that you can give me more details on that as to what exactly the company has agreed to do. Have they agreed to cover the full cost of the extra police that would be working on the streets tonight, or just part of it? Perhaps indeed maybe you can give us an estimate of the additional cost that Arthur's Day has on the state. And then I propose, Minister, you're always very frank. You were in the last debate that we've just finished in the House. Just ask your own views on the event in the context of the fact that, look, we all enjoy a few drinks. Certainly with the All-Ireland final last week, I celebrated that down at a local pub, same as half of Dublin. I'm looking forward to going out and having birthday drinks with a friend of mine tomorrow night. But I also accept that there is a problem with excess alcohol in Ireland, and that's why I have an issue, as I said, with an event being concocted purely for the purpose of encouraging people to drink more. I think we've seen a lot of emphasis from the alcohol industry over the last few years on taglines like drink responsibly and things like that, and they're telling us that they get the message that we need to move away from promoting consumption and encouraging people to drink more and be more responsible in marketing. And that's why I have a concern about this event. It's not because I'm a teetotaler by any means or that I'm anti-drink, not at all. It's just that I think the way that it's been marketed is quite cynical, and I do have a concern about it. And I suppose I'd take the opportunity, if you don't mind, to ask for your personal views on the event as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, here, look, as the Senator has said, I'm already responding to her on behalf of the Minister for Justice and Equality, Alan Shatter, who unfortunately is not available. And he asked me to thank the Senator for raising these matters. As the Senator may be aware, under Garda Síochána Act 2005, the Commissioner is the accounting officer for the Garda Síochána vote, and accordingly he is responsible for operational expenditure incurred by the force. It is also the case that Section 30 of the Act provides a statutory basis for the Garda Commissioner to charge for police services on a non-public duty basis for certain events. This is a function which is undertaken by the Commissioner independently of the Minister for Justice and his department. The Minister has consulted with the Gardaí authorities who have indicated that Garda financial records are not maintained in a format which would provide a breakdown of the costs incurred in policing activities linked to the set of events that the Senator has referred to. Indeed, I'm wondering why they're not, but that's the situation at the moment. I would have thought that appropriations in aid was something that would come in separately. It would be the norm for other things, but that's another day's work. In addition, the Minister has been advised that the extraction of this information would require a usual excuse. With regard to the question of charging for the relevant policing services involved, this is, as I have mentioned, a matter for the Commissioner. In that context, I understand that arrangements have been made with the organisers of some of the events in question for the recoupment of costs in respect of the additional policing requirements that will arise. At present, all of the relevant details are not available, but I can confirm that the Minister is strongly in favour of this approach. Minister Shatter has also asked me to say that he fully appreciates the concerns that have been raised by the Senator. In the overall context, the Minister would like to stress that while people are fully entitled to enjoy the Arthur's Day events, personal responsibility should play an important part in the way in which they behave. From that perspective, the Minister would urge everybody attending the events to drink alcohol sensibly. As we are aware, this has not always been the case in previous years, and the result has been that very heavy demands have been placed on the emergency services to which the Senator has referred, not to mention the personal consequences for the individuals directly involved. In particular, the Minister would emphasise the need for care on the part of persons who may be driving, especially either today or tomorrow, and the responsibilities to other road users and indeed to themselves. We are all aware of the consequences of drink driving, which has caused so many serious injuries and fatalities on our roads. Unfortunately, this has on occasion been the result of reckless driving by young people who have consumed large amounts of alcohol. In this context, the Minister would encourage parents of young people to urge them not only not to drink and drive, but also not to get into a car with a driver who has been drinking. Finally, the Minister has asked me to express his appreciation for the work done by the Garda Síochána in the policing of major events. It is often a very difficult task, and at all times it is the policy of the force that the safety of the public must be the primary consideration. This will be the priority for the Garda personnel who are charged with policing the events that the Senator has referred to. As regards my own personal view on this, I will be very similarly disposed to the attitude that she herself has expressed. I don't think we need specific saints of alcohol to encourage us to come out and have a go. It was a marketing event. I just hope that it is not abused. I think what we have to do is to learn how to drink. And as a nation do that, and I've made references to it elsewhere about youngsters. In places where alcohol is banned and in places where alcohol is at a prohibitively high price, you still have alcohol abuse. And it's getting that balance right. And unfortunately, I don't have a recipe as to how best you can do it, except education. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Question.
Thank you, Minister. And I appreciate that you're responding for Minister Shatter. I have to say I'm surprised, as you've said you are yourself, by the fact that the Department isn't able to pull through those figures from the Garda Síochána about the extra staff that are working tonight. I've spoken to Gardaí working in different stations across Dublin City, and they've said that they have them because obviously they know how many extra cars are on tonight. They said they have to staff the night as if it was a very busy Saturday night instead of an ordinary Thursday. So I do think that the Minister should make an effort. If you could ask Minister Shatter to make an effort to seek those back to the Gardaí. There is a district network there. It's not that difficult to ask the superintendent of each district to report back on the extra staff that had to be put on to make Arthur's Day safe. I know from the response that the Department of Justice has given you that it says that some of the organisers of some of the events on this evening have agreed to pay the policing costs. I think some is the key word in that sentence. And I would ask you, Minister Quinn, to convey to Minister Shatter my strong view that Diageo, because again this is a commercial night from which they will be making significant profit, should cover the costs of should cover all of the costs of Arthur's Day, and I think that's important, and that it's done in a consistent way across the country as well. I gather a lot of pressure obviously has been put on the company by the Gardaí in Cork, and I think that's why the story is in the paper today in the Examiner. The guards had been commenting to the papers and raising as an issue over the last few weeks, and I think that's that seems to be the reason behind the response at the Cork level. But I want to know if the same thing is happening in Dublin and across all other cities around the country. So I just ask you to convey that message back to Minister Seanad. Thank you.
Matara?
I will certainly do that. I will bring his department and himself to the attention of this debate here in the Seanad, and also I suspect the note that was prepared was in advance of what was reported in the newspapers today, but no doubt he'll get a report of that, and I think I would share your broad sentiments that if this is going to be a recurring event, there should be an accountancy system put in place that would enable somebody to take out that cost relatively simply. We don't want to overload it. But if there was a spike in the normal traffic coming through an accident or an emergency in our hospitals, that should be able to be monitored as well.
Thank you, Minister. The House stands adjourned until 2:30 on Tuesday next.